over what we're covering on this beginner live event. I'm so excited about this. And again, if you're in YouTube, give me some comments so I know. And you guys, you can throw any yoga related questions in the chat during this whole live event. So feel free to do that. Geki says everything is working. Hey, Geki, so good to see you virtually. Okay, so this is what we're covering. And you know, this is really designed for people new to yoga, but if you are been doing yoga for a while, I'm not gonna like kick you out of the live stream. You are totally welcome to come. And I prefer comments on YouTube, you guys, just because the comments go so fast on Periscope. So if you just want to comment like reacting, it's good to comment on Periscope. If you want to like ask a question, it's better that you do it on YouTube. I'll try to answer the Perry questions best I can, but on YouTube, when you ask a question, it stays on the screen so I can see it and come back to it, because I think we're going to have a lot of questions. I'm going to cover a lot of material. On Periscope, it just goes really fast. So we're going to be covering how to know what style of yoga is best for you. We're going to be covering yoga terms that cause the most confusion. That's a good one. Then we're going to be covering the most dangerous pose in yoga, especially for beginners. And then we're going to be covering the best way to move through the detox challenge if you are a beginner. I am also, Jen says she's taking notes. Awesome. I'm also, if you're new to yoga and you haven't been through my beginner yoga jumpstart program, that program is really ideal for getting you ready for the spring detox challenge, which is more intermediate level. So what I'm doing is I am running the beginner yoga jumpstart program starting on April 4th. So that's Monday. So today and like the rest of this week is an awesome time to sign up for the beginner yoga jumpstart program, because you can do it with a lot of other people starting April 4th. And I'm throwing in a lot of bonuses and cool incentives for people to sign up for that so that you can move through it as a group. And some of you on here may have already done that program. So cool. Let's begin. So how to know the style of yoga that is best for you. So this is a big question, and I feel like it gets asked a lot. So how to know the style of yoga that's best for you is, I want you to start thinking about your whole yoga career or your whole yoga experience as a journey, as something that has an arc, as something that is not finite. So I think people get trapped where they think they have to pick a style of yoga and then like that's their style of yoga. So one thing that I like to say is that you don't need to be faithful to a particular style of yoga. There's a lot of areas in our life where we want to be faithful, like we want to be faithful to our spouse, for example. But yoga, it's like the opposite of that. I want you to date every style of yoga that's out there so you can find the one that works for you. Hey from Barcelona. And there's so many different styles, and I'm going to cover a couple of them on the call, but it's really about finding, Jen says, amen, right. So when we talk about finding the style of yoga that's right for you, something that happens to a lot of people is they go to the studio closest to their house. Who can relate to this? Who's saying, hey girl, hey Rachel. They go to the studio closest to their house. They take whatever class is convenient for them at a given time, and then they just think that's what yoga is. So they just end up going to a studio close to their house, and there like happens to be a vinyasa or whatever class with whatever teacher, and then they're just like, oh, I guess that's what yoga is. And it's so sad because it's like, no, that's just like one studio that happened to be close to your house with one teacher you happened to go to one time. Yoga is this huge, massive universe of so many different styles. And guys, if you're on Periscope and you want to share this out, thank you, Tater, for sharing. Click the little Perry dude in my bio. You can follow me and share this out because this is really cool info for all the beginners. So when you're a beginner and you're assessing which style of yoga should I start with, right? Because that can be really intimidating. What I want you to do is, first, I want to teach you this concept of flow. All right, it's like to flow or not to flow. So who knows what I mean when I say flow in yoga? Tap the screen for hearts or give me a little comment in YouTube. I'm curious if you guys are familiar with this term. So what flow means is to do a vinyasa flow, right? So vinyasa flow is inhale, arms up, exhale, fold, inhale, half lift, exhale, step or jump back to chaturanga, up dog, down dog, right? That is a vinyasa flow. And this is especially confusing, and this is getting into our next topic, like confusing terms in yoga, because A vinyasa flow is that series of postures strung together. But there's also a whole style of yoga called vinyasa flow yoga, right? See how for beginners this can be really confusing? Because you might go to any type of yoga class, like a power yoga class or a hatha yoga class, and they'd say, okay, everyone, time to like vinyasa, like between poses. They'd say like vinyasa. Vinyasa is that sequence of doing a sun, like basically a sun salute with chaturanga, up dog, down dog. So when you're assessing the different styles of yoga and why you do that flow, that series, is to build heat in the body, right? It's designed to build heat. It might look easy, like while I'm doing the fake version of it in my chair, step back, up dog, down dog, but it's actually really heating. It really heats the body. So when you're assessing what style of yoga you want to do, oh, thank you. Super nice comment on Periscope from Judy. Really appreciate it. When you're assessing what kind of style of yoga you want to do, you want to start thinking about, how much flow do you want, right? That's like the big question you want to ask yourself. How much do you want to flow or not flow? So if you want a lot of flow, maybe power yoga or vinyasa flow yoga, which is named after that, would be a good choice. Like if you want heating, workout type of thing. But if you have an injury or maybe you're older, you probably want maybe a style with a little less flow, like hatha yoga. Yeah, Ashtanga yoga, good point, is also very heavy on the flow. Ashtanga is like one of the most flowy styles you can do. But if you have a wrist injury, right, that's probably not so great. So hatha is like a nice balance, because in hatha yoga, you tend to hold the postures a little longer. So instead of being like one breath, one movement, and thank you so much, the person who just said this was helpful, appreciate that. In hatha yoga, you tend to hold the postures a little bit longer. So instead of one breath per movement, you usually hang out in a pose for like a couple more breaths. So it's great for beginners because you have a little bit more time to hang out and be there. And hatha yoga also tends to have less vinyasa flows like all the time. So has anyone had the experience of going to like a power yoga class or an Ashtanga yoga class or a hardcore vinyasa flow class? And it's like every 3 poses, they're making you go through chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Has anyone had that experience? Give me like just some hearts or say yes in Periscope or YouTube. Yeah. And sometimes, depending on where you were at in your life, it's great. Someone said they died, right? Yeah, it's really hard. It's really heating. So this is the kind of thing I want you to consider when you're deciding as a newbie what style of yoga you want to do. How heating do you want it to be? How much do you want to flow through chaturanga and up dog? Because there are options, people. There are options, okay? It's not like that's all that exists. There are totally options, and hatha is a great alternative. Hatha, usually has a little bit less vinyasa flow. And then other options would be like, can someone think of an example of like the opposite end of the spectrum where you're not doing any flow at all? Can someone name a style of yoga that you're not doing any flow at all? I'll give a couple minutes for the YouTube. Meditation, yin, good job, you guys. Kundalini, totally. You guys still haven't said the one that I was thinking of, but you're saying a lot. Yeah, too much flow can be hard for beginners, says Jen. Totally agree. Yin, no one has still said the one that I'm thinking of. You guys are right about all of these. I was thinking of Iyengar yoga, right? Iyengar yoga, no flow. But you guys are right. In yin and restorative, there is also not flow. And in Kundalini, there's also not flow. Restorative, says Geki Good Luck. Nobody guessed mine. Iyengar. So guys, if you don't know what Iyengar yoga is, Iyengar uses tons of props. I'm going to show you all my props later, but here's a little preview. Iyengar uses tons of props, and they don't flow at all. It's just all about alignment. It's all about really refined, detailed alignment things. So for example, oh, you've never heard of Iyengar? Yeah, Iyengar is it's literally just about alignment. Like you don't break a sweat in Iyengar at all, which is why I personally don't love it, because I like to get a workout when I do yoga. But if you've ever seen people do, yeah, literally correct, Alex, they'll do just like maybe 5 poses the whole class. And they use tons of props, and it's like you will do the most precise you know, usually down dog, or often they do poses with a chair where you're like using the chair, doing shoulder stand on the chair. And they have something called Iyengar walls, which are walls that have these ropes in them. And you can do specific poses to refine your alignment with the Iyengar wall. So Iyengar, you want to think, you know, props, and like great for people who have injuries or are recovering for an injury. So yeah, people are learning about styles that they maybe don't know before. Yeah, Iyengar is intense. It's good, but it's like you're not going to get a workout in. So like these are how wide a variety of yoga there is out there. It's mind blowing. And then you add in, there's like all sorts of teachers also have their own styles. Like John Friend created Anusara yoga, right? Which is like his own take on Vinyasa, Ashtanga-ish stuff. And it's all about like heart opening, and he has his own alignment principles. Bikram, right, invented his own style of yoga, which is like hot yoga, which doesn't have any vinyasa flow, but is very heating in other ways. Then you have, there's like shadow yoga. There's so much. There's forest yoga that Anna Forrest said. I'm looking at Alex's comment. Yeah, so Eve says she's overwhelmed. I, as a teacher, am overwhelmed. It's totally overwhelming, which makes me really feel for the beginners out there, because beginners are just like, where do I, So, okay, so beginners, going to a studio near you is good, okay? Hey, going to a studio near you is good, but just know that that's like the tip of the iceberg. You thought forest yoga was in the forest? That's like the best comment I've ever heard. It's called that because it's founded by Anna Forrest, but doing forest yoga in the forest would also be really fun and awesome. I love that, that's awesome. So guys, tons of styles. So as you're a beginner, start with the studios nearest to you. And then this is my big tip for beginners who live in a city, okay? And then we're gonna talk about what to do if you don't live in a city. But if you live in a city, what I want you to do is I want you to get like either ClassPass, or you don't even have to get ClassPass. Like go to all the studios in the city or in your neighborhood. And most studios have what they call a new student special. Has anyone ever heard of the new student special at a studio? Tap the screen for hearts, give me a yes in the comments if you've ever taken advantage of this feature that they have at studios, right? Most studios have a new student special. So just like, again, I'm gonna do a lot of dating analogies, but just like if you just signed up for eHarmony or eCupid or whatever these online dating sites are, like you wouldn't get married to like the first profile you looked at, right? Like you wouldn't do that. It's the same with yoga. Like I want you to date every studio that is in your vicinity. And then in that studio, I want you to date every style of yoga and every teacher that is available to you, so that you can really get a sense and think of this like as your journey, as your own personal exploration, like all the different styles. And then, okay, if you don't live in a city, which is what people are saying now, they have like maybe just a gym with generic yoga class, you know, then YouTube is like your best friend. So find me on YouTube, find other teachers on YouTube, and even like my channel, I teach a variety of styles. I have like my vinyasa, I teach like a slow alignment-based vinyasa flow, which is like my main style. But I also have yin classes. I also have yoga nidra. I also have meditation. I also have restorative. I also have all sorts of different stuff, because I'm not like dogmatic about yoga. I embrace all styles. Like my message is, let's all personalize our practice so our practice really fits and works for us. And ultimately, that's what I'm trying to teach you. Yeah, I want to teach you to really personalize your practice. And personalizing your practice could mean pulling from a bunch of different styles. Like Monday I do Bikram, and Tuesday I do Iyengar, and like Friday I'm really tired, so I go to restorative. And like you design, that's the magic of it. You design what's going to be perfect for you, and you can pull from all these different styles. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about for beginners, thank you, whoever just said that they like YouTube and that I'm a great teacher, I appreciate it, thank you. Mel Santana, oh hey. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that, we're going to go a little deeper here, okay? The fact that the style of yoga that you are attracted to as a beginner, as a newbie, like you start dating all these styles of yoga, that's awesome, date away, don't be loyal to any of them. And then you're going to start to want to, you know, like start dating one a little bit more seriously, maybe be boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of thing. And that initial type of yoga that you're attracted to when you are like a total newbie is often, not always, but it's often not what you need long-term. It's like what you're attracted to initially is not what you need long-term. And I'm going to keep going with the dating analogy here, guys. So stay with me. When you're younger, say you're younger and you're like super energetic and like a risk taker, and you're like attracted to the opposite sex who's the same as you, right? Who's like also a risk taker and also like into all the fun things you want to do. But do you like want to marry that person? Like, is it good to have two people who are like super crazy risk takers, irresponsible in a partnership? No, like maybe you usually like you grow up and you mature, and after a couple of years you end up kind of dating or marrying someone who balances you out, right? Like someone who complements you. Like I'm really crazy and high energy and emotional and nuts, and my husband's like insanely stable, and I like can't even, he like doesn't get excited about anything while I get excited about like everything, right? So we're like a really good balance. But when I was younger, right, I like wanted to date people who were like super exciting and, you know, more crazy like me. So it's the same with yoga, guys. It's the same with yoga. Like the style of yoga that you're initially attracted to, like a lot of times people are initially attracted to like Bikram yoga. At least that was my experience, because I was like hardcore type A person and I loved Bikram yoga. And if you guys don't know what Bikram yoga is, it's hot yoga where you do hot yoga in a heated room that's 108 degrees with 90% humidity. And it's really, really, really hard and intense. And a lot of people are attracted to it at the beginning because it gives them like a super sweaty workout. So a lot of people who are type A, like me, are really attracted to Bikram yoga. So I did Bikram yoga for a year, and that's great. But long-term, Bikram yoga is not what I needed to like balance my energy and, you know, really use yoga as a toolkit to get me where I needed to be. It was sort of like the first thing I could latch onto because it was the thing that was most familiar to me as someone who was like new and not into yoga at all yet. But then I evolved from that. So that's just like the other caveat that I want you guys to keep in mind, and tap the screen for hearts and give me a yes in the chat boxes if this is making sense to you and you agree. But it's just like, especially when you're starting out, just go with what interests you, but just have this awareness in the back of your mind that even once you pick the style that's like really resonating with you, your first year or two of yoga, that style might still evolve. You want to be open to still exploring, because ultimately, like usually what we're initially attracted to, or like the first thing we can most easily latch onto, isn't actually what we need long term. It was just like the first thing we could connect with. So it was a great starting point, and maybe you do that for a year or 2 years. But then I really want you to keep an open mind and keep experimenting with different types of yoga, because you're going to evolve as a person. And this goes for me as well, right? Like I'm super into my vinyasa and vinyasa flow, but I always am keeping an open mind and trying consistently new styles of yoga, new styles of all movement and exercise, because, you know, as I get older and I change, you know, like what I need is going to be different, and you want to be constantly, Lisa says yoga is like a fling. You want to be constantly evolving your practice. Someone says I'm so calm in my videos. I know, that's because when I teach, I step into this other dimension where I'm connecting with like source or universal, and I become insanely calm. But when I talk about yoga props in my daily life, like I'm very excited about blocks and stuff. So it's really interesting. And those of you who are teachers, I talk about that a lot in my teaching masterclass, about how you can like step into that zone. And you know, I just want to be myself. Like it's great that I'm super calm when I teach yoga, but when I'm like just chatting with you guys, I'm just chatting with you like you're my friends, like we're hanging out, like I'm just being fully me and not trying to be like some calm teacher, because you guys already know that side of me. You see that on the mat. So Fiona says, I'm finding doing hot yoga, not 108 in a closed hot room, plus beginner videos where you film outside, and it balances things for me. Yeah. So again, you can like mix and match all these styles. Okay. So we went over like the yoga term that I think causes the most confusion, which is vinyasa, because it's like something you do within classes and it's also its own style of yoga. So that's the term that I think is the most confusing. So just know that when a teacher says vinyasa, or like cartwheel down from warrior 2, optional vinyasa, what they're talking about is like chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Okay, so just be aware of that. And if people have other terms they think are confusing, I'd love for you to throw them in the chat at this point so I can cover them before we move on. While you guys are doing that, I'll share what I think is the most dangerous pose in yoga, which unfortunately is chaturanga. I think chaturanga is the most dangerous pose in yoga, and here's why. Because chaturanga, 90% of people, myself included, on a large majority of days are doing chaturanga incorrectly. Chaturanga is extremely hard, and for those of you who don't know what chaturanga is, it's like the yoga push-up that you do. It's really hard to do correctly, and it really hurts your wrists, and you can really damage your rotator cuff. And it's something that's repeated a lot in classes, so you have high risk for repetitive stress injury. So I think chaturanga is really hard and really dangerous. It's really hard for me as a teacher. It's really hard for someone like I even have, I think, decent upper body strength. I won't say I have fantastic upper body strength, and I've been doing yoga for 10 years and it's still really hard for me. So beginners, I want you to modify chaturanga, and you can take lower all the way to the floor and take cobra, or there's like 7 other ways that you can modify it. And one of the things that I'm doing to incentivize you guys who are new, who are beginners, who are watching this, who haven't taken Beginner Yoga Jumpstart, which I'm running that challenge for beginners on April 4th, so on Monday. If you haven't taken Beginner Yoga Jumpstart, and I'll talk more about that program at the end, but I'm including a free bonus video that has 7 options, 7 different things you can do instead of chaturanga that are like variations, mini chaturangas to build up your strength. I'm including that as a free video in the program, only for people who are on the live call and for the next 24 hours while the replay is live. So if you're new to yoga and this is like especially a concern for you, just know that the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart program that usually does not come with this information is going to come with a really cool video about that. So we have Susan asking a question here. How close, she's asking about the distance between your hip bones and your wrists when doing chaturanga. So the big advice I'll just give for everyone right now, whether you're doing chaturanga full out or whether you're doing modified chaturanga, is that you want your elbows to be close into your body. So if I'm lowering down, like we want your elbow to be at a 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle as we're lowering down. Like imagine the floor is here. We want the elbow to be at a 90-degree angle when we're lowering down, and then we want the elbow to be brushing alongside of the body. So what do I see when I teach? Chicken wings, right? Everyone's doing chaturanga with their elbows out. You want to have your elbows in. So when you do chaturanga, I want you to think, I want you to physically feel the side of your arm brush past your clothing as you lower down. Can we all do that, please? Because that's one way that you're going to protect your shoulders, by not having weird chicken wings. And then you can also lower down to your knees and do that as well. And Geki says you like that video. Chaturanga is really difficult, guys. So if you're a beginner, you definitely should take my Beginner Yoga Jumpstart course, but just know that bonus, just for today, that video is included in it. And I'm really motivating people to do the Jumpstart and get it today or tomorrow or soon, because I'm going to run the Beginner Yoga Challenge live for everyone starting on Monday. And what will happen is you'll do the Beginner Challenge Monday through, I think it's 6 days, Saturday. You'll have a week off where you can like ingest and do like, do yoga, don't do nothing. But then we start the Detox Challenge. So it's like perfect timing, guys, for the beginners to do Beginner Yoga Jumpstart first week of April. And if you guys want to check it out, it's brettlarkin.com/BYJ. Beginner Yoga Jumpstart, BYJ. brettlarkin.com/BYJ. And now we're going to talk about props. Okay, let's talk about props. So let's talk about setting up your home studio and that whole thing. Yeah, everyone gets excited when we talk about props, especially me. So again, this is for the beginners out there. I know we have like awesome people in our community who are here, who are like the leaders of the community, like Jen and Shannon. I know you guys aren't beginners, but I'm just going to keep this for beginners, okay? Beginners, what do you need to set up a home studio? I'm going to tell you right now. You need only 2 things. Really simple, okay? We're going to keep it really simple. Oh, someone got the props. Rach, you must have bought my Always Be Stretching course, huh, girl? And you just got the props? That's awesome. That's a other course, guys. But this is all you need to set up your home studio and always a beginner. You need a yoga mat, okay? We can talk about what brand, but let's just keep it basic. You need a yoga mat. You don't want to wear socks when you do yoga. You need a yoga mat. And then you need 2 blocks. 2 blocks. You need 2 blocks, not 1 block, 2 blocks. Don't be cheap and just buy 1 block. You need 2 blocks. And you want to get the blocks that are this dimension. So take a look at this block, you guys. This is like the first yoga block I ever bought, or one of the first blocks I ever bought. And you see how it's thinner than the green block, right? This one isn't good. You don't want this one because it's not as stable. It's too thin. I really like this. Hi, Anna, you're not late. Just jump on in. You can check I'll send the replay link too. Yeah, and Geki says she loves blocks and always has them near her mat. You want this kind, the thicker, bigger kind, not the thin kind. And there are lots of different types of blocks out there. There are foam, cork, and wood blocks. These are foam. And yeah, yours are too narrow. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. It's just like if you're a beginner watching this and you're going to invest in blocks, like get these ones. And better yet, you can get them on Amazon and that's fine, but you can also get them on my website. There's a link below the live stream in YouTube. And these are the exact blocks that I mail to people. They're identical to this one. See, it's the exact same dimensions. They're shrink wrapped, they're purple, they're foam. And when you buy them through my website, you also get a video on how to use blocks. Because this is the other problem. Like a beginner might own blocks, but they don't actually know how to use the blocks in any pose. Like I feel like Target and all these places that sell blocks should I wish I could talk to them all and be like, just include my video in the sale so people can know how to use blocks when they actually get them. Yeah, Jen says the narrow ones are too unstable. So these are the exact blocks I use and recommend, and these are the exact blocks I will personally ship to you with the free video on how to use them if you buy blocks on my website. So brettlarkin.com, I have a shop link at the top. You'll find the blocks. The link is also below the video on YouTube, and I can put the link in Periscope for the replay. But these are the exact blocks. Yeah, and they're purple. Sorry, I don't give you a color option. Purple is my favorite color, and yep, that's it. So if you need to have blocks of a different color, don't get them from me because mine are always purple. But the benefit of getting them through my site is that you get to support free yoga online. That's good. Support me. That's good. And you get to get the video. The video is really good. It's like a 45-minute or half-hour video where I literally just show you how to use the blocks in every single yoga pose, guys. So if you're a beginner, it's like I just go through and it's fun. I'm quick. I'm just like, this is how you use it in triangle pose. This is how you can use it in low lunge. This is how you can use it here, there, and everywhere. And for those of you who are interested in the Jumpstart program, there's a version of the Jumpstart program that comes with yoga blocks where I mail you these bad boys. That's on my website, brettlarkin.com/BYJ, Beginner Yoga Jumpstart, link below the video. So Diana asked, what's the difference between the foam one and the other ones? Does that affect? Favorite topic of mine. Thank you for asking. So I really recommend foam blocks, and that's why they're the ones that I personally have chosen to sell. And I'll tell you why. Wood blocks are heavy. They're so heavy, guys. Wood blocks are super heavy and they're slippery as well. Like if you get really sweaty, the wood can kind of they slip on each other, and they're hard to stack on top of one another as well. Because they're a little bit slippery, it can be hard to stack them on top of one another. So that's why I don't like wood blocks, because they're super heavy, they're slippery, they're kind of hard to stack. They're also wood, so they're really hard on your head. A lot of things you can do that's cool with blocks is rest your forehead on the block. And if you're using a foam block, like the ones I sell, it's it feels nice on your forehead instead of feeling like something really hard. There's a little bit of give. There's a little bit of give there, and I really like it. Keep in mind that wood blocks, because they're really heavy, not only does that mean that you can't bring them, it's just more of a nuisance to bring them when you're traveling or take them room to room, but they're also heavy to move around the mat. Say you're doing your practice, this is my mat and my blocks are here. It's heavy to move the wood block. I really love foam blocks because they're super light, so I can just move them and I can stack them. And even if they're wet, they're still stackable, really easy to stack on top of each other to make different configurations. I find with the wood blocks, they slide. All right, and then cork blocks are a good option. You can totally go that route. I just still don't like them as much because they're heavy and because they don't have as much give. To me, it doesn't feel that nice to put my forehead on a wood or a cork block. Cork blocks also absorb sweat and moisture, which is good. So they're not slippery like the wood blocks, but they can get kind of like funky smelling after a while. And I mean, to a certain extent, so can foam blocks, but foam blocks are the cheapest option. And you can just, if they get really gross, just throw them away, you know what I mean? And buy new ones. But I mean, I've had these forever and they're awesome. Like they have little nicks and stuff on them if we like look really closely, but like, I don't care. I just want my blocks to be comfortable. I want them to be light to move around the mat, and you definitely want to. So let's look at some other questions that are coming in. So guys, and sorry, that's the only thing you need for your home studio as a beginner. You need a yoga mat and you need, your cats love the cork ones. That's so funny. Yeah, so Jen Hall says she also loves the squishy foam blocks. Yeah, I'm so a foam block person, and you know, everyone can make their own decision, but that's really what I endorse. And getting them on my website is a great way to support free yoga online and help me out and get the free video about how to use blocks as well. So if you go to my website under props, yoga props, you'll see the blocks. They're exactly these ones, shrink wrapped, sent to you. And the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart Challenge that I'm hosting on Monday, you can sign up for that and also get blocks mailed to you, brettlarkin.com/BYJ. Okay. And I'll show you the Jumpstart course in a second. I just want to answer some more questions. And strap, we have the strap right here, right? So that's why I tell beginners, all you need to do, or all you need to have is a yoga mat and yoga blocks. Like a strap is totally, there's like, I can think of like 9 things that you could use in your house that's like a yoga strap right now. Like I use my husband's belts as a yoga strap all the time when I'm just like in the bedroom and don't want to walk and go get this strap. Just like a normal leather belt, a fitness band. Yeah, let's everyone throw in the chat things you can use as a yoga strap. A ribbon, a rolled up towel from your bathroom, just like a towel roll, can use that as a strap. There's like so many things you can use as a yoga strap. So I don't say like definitely get a scarf is another good one. A long scarf that like maybe, again, I mean, granted you're putting your foot in it. Yeah, people say they've done this. So, you know, investing in a yoga strap with the special loop is awesome. Everyone should do it. But I just say for like beginners, you're just starting out, you don't need it. You don't need it. There's not anything I can think of in your house that you can easily substitute for yoga blocks. So a tie, another very good one. You yoga hackers, you're awesome. We're hacking props into our life in all sorts of ways here. A rope, yeah. So again, as you get more advanced in your practice, definitely invest in a yoga strap. I have nothing against yoga straps. Having a special yoga strap is awesome. But beginners, you're saving money, right? You're not sure how committed you are to yoga. You want to just have the essentials for your home studio. It is a mat and 2 blocks all the way. That's all you need, okay? So let me answer a couple quick questions here if they are related to what we are talking about. Hey, someone's excited to catch it live. Yeah, using a resistance band if you don't have a strap yet. And you can use books for blocks, someone says, but only in the lowest positions, and you can't stack them and do all the kind of like cool stuff that you want to do. So I'm gonna really quickly right now, and then we're gonna talk about the best way to move through the Spring Detox Challenge. Before we do that, I do wanna show off the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart program really quick for the people who are watching. So if you're on Periscope, you're not gonna be able to see my screen, sadly. But entire screen, I do wanna show it for folks who maybe haven't taken the program and wanna start on Monday. So guys, can you see my screen? If you can give me a chat. This is where you can buy the blocks and it comes with the video. And it's under yoga props on my website. And then the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart course is right here. So let me pop over to YouTube really quick and just make sure that everyone can see my screen. They say yes, awesome. So I'm hosting the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart again on April 4th. And what that means is that instead of doing the Jumpstart Challenge by yourself, you're gonna get to do it with a whole group of people who hopefully sign up today and tomorrow. And basically you get these 4 videos that aren't on YouTube that are exactly like these 2 classes that people really like. People love this class because it's a 15-minute beginning morning yoga routine. And Periscope, maybe I can show this to you guys too. Hold on. Whoop, whoop. Whoop. There you go. So yeah, so this is it. Starts April 4th. And you get these 4 videos that are not on YouTube that are all 15-minute beginning morning yoga routines. I've run this program a couple times. People love it. What's different about it is every day you get audio motivation from me. So you get a little like podcast specifically from me to you it's really awesome. It like educates you all about different yoga concepts, but also just like keeps you motivated throughout the challenge so you keep going. And all of these videos are downloadable, so you can download them all and keep them. And then I also throw in these bonus videos, so you can do those. And the live challenge week starts April 4th. So if you want to do it, it's $49. It's a total like steal, and I'm throwing in for only the people who are on live to also get the 7 ways to modify chaturanga video. So I'll show that to you guys really quick, but it's like seven alternatives to chaturanga, and I literally show you like 7 different ways you can break it down. And that's not going to be true in 24 hours. It's only for today. 79 is like you just get the blocks that I showed you additional. And then because some people were curious and wanting this only for this month, if you want to do it, the challenge, and also get accountability from me for $199, I'll do 2 30-minute privates with you on Skype or Google Hangout. So this is like a really great deal because you get blocks mailed to you, you get to do the whole Jumpstart program, and you basically get to have a full private with me. But I break it into 2 sessions so that we can track your progress. And it's really easy to schedule, and we just do it over Skype or Google Hangout, okay? So I'm gonna switch back to Mates, but I wanted to really, really encourage you guys, and I'm pressuring you to sign up soon by giving the bonus chaturanga video, because what's powerful about the challenge, and especially the beginner challenge, is that when we get to go through it as a group, it's really motivating for people. Like the last time I ran this, I think I had like 50 or 60 people go through it at the same time, and it was really, really awesome. So let me switch back, because basically everyone checks in with everyone every day and lets them know that they did it, and everyone's getting the emails on the same day, and then you're going to be totally ready to do the detox challenge when we do the detox challenge, which will be like in two weeks, or like a week from when you finish that one. So Periscope, bear with me, I have to put you back on the ground. So throw now questions in the chat so I can answer questions about the program. If there are beginners who have questions about the program, or just any general yoga questions in general, I'm more than happy to answer. And I know that there were some questions in the chat waiting for me. Let's see. And if you're not a beginner, you know, you don't want to do this challenge, and this challenge like is a paid challenge because it has a bunch of like bonus content and downloadable videos that I'm giving you, as well as potentially yoga blocks and private lessons, depending on which package you get. But if you're just regular yoga, not new person, the Spring Detox Challenge, which is for everyone, starts on April 18th. brettlarkin.com/detox to sign up for that. Or if you get my emails, you're already signed up. Like you don't have to go re-sign up if you're already on my mailing list. So the spring challenge starts April 18th. And that's why I really wanted to run the beginner challenge, even though like I'm busy and it's been crazy. I really wanted to run it for a group on April 4th. So if you're a beginner, you are interested in yoga, you are like wanting block shipped to, or maybe you're also wanting a private, like this is the time to do Beginner Yoga Jumpstart. If you've ever considered doing it in the past, like get it now, get it in the next 24 hours so I can also send you the chaturanga video that has the 7 different ways you can modify chaturanga and avoid injury. Just like do it now, do it now, do it now. Okay, so let's jump over to questions. August says, awesome beginners package, and it's your first YouTube live chat. Awesome, August. Thank you for being here. I really love it when you guys show up live. It's so fun for us all to talk and connect. And I'm sorry I'm looking down. It's just so I can like read all your comments. So Diana asked about the length of the strap. Yeah, don't worry. They're all pretty good. Like usually when you go to like Yoga Direct or Yoga Outlet, any place you buy the strap, there'll be 3 strap lengths. Just get the middle length, the middle option. I can't remember exactly what it is. But the one thing about the strap, guys, that's really important is you want to get the one, see how this has a metal buckle? You want to get the metal buckle. You don't want to get one that has a plastic cinch or buckle. because they just tend to get caught. Again, you can take or leave my advice, but let me just tell you, I've like tried every yoga prop in the planet, and I only like the ones with this buckle, like the 2 silver ones like this. I don't like the ones that are plastic, and I don't like any other varieties. And just trust me, again, you don't have to take my advice, but I've tried like every type of yoga strap. So just get the medium length one if there's multiple options, and then just make sure it has that, that type of cinch that's metal and smooth, and not those weird black plastic ones, because those catch and they just are a nightmare. Okay, other questions. Can't wait to start the challenge. I know, it's so exciting. Someone asked, is yoga against any religions? That's a really great question. It's a super deep topic, so I'm not going to get into it on this live stream. Mary, who asked that, I have another video. It's called My Definition of Yoga. Is Yoga Religious? Chanting. It's a different live stream. I'd really encourage you to watch that video, because we go really deep on that topic, and I'll try to answer it in the live stream. Okay, bye guys who are leaving on Periscope. What time of day do you stream the beginner classes in the UK? So Jackie, great question. So the classes are actually not, you have them on YouTube. So basically what happens when you buy the beginner yoga package, you have access to download all of them immediately. And if you don't want to download them, you have access to like a course page where they're all like YouTube videos that are embedded. And then what happens on April 4th is that so for the Spring Detox Challenge, I time warp everything. So you always get the video in your inbox at like 5 in the morning, no matter where you are in the world. With the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart Challenge, I'm not probably going to do that. I'm probably just going to send them all at like midnight my time. But the thing is, you're going to, I mean, if you're in the UK, that's 8 hours ahead. So you'd have the email at 8 a.m. But you'll already have the video, because it's like the video downloads get sent to you immediately, and they're also on the course page. Does that make sense? Like the email part that I do during the challenge is like just to send you the audio motivation and to like resend you where the video is, but you already have it. So Jackie, let me know if that makes sense, but it's not live streaming. It's like you get everything the minute you purchase, including the bonus video with the 7 chaturanga things. Like you can download all of them that second. So I'm going to suggest an order in which you go through them during the challenge, like Monday, Tuesday, when, you know, I'm going to move everyone through it as a group, but it's not like you're contingent on the email to get the video. You already have all the videos. The email is just a reminder. So the Spring Challenge, the Detox Challenge, because it's live and none of those videos are released yet, and they're all streaming, then I have them sent at a very specific time in the morning. And it's like very complicated to do, but I did it for the New Year's challenge and people in Europe really appreciated it. So I'm going to do it again. Rachel asked, what do you recommend for making a home studio? So Rachel, I don't know if you just jumped on, but I did cover that. I'm just covering it for beginners. I say a mat and 2 yoga blocks is like the bare essentials that you need. And if you had more specific questions about just like making an altar or like other cool stuff, let me know and I'll go into more specifics. Geki has a question about Warrior One. The front of my hips is always super tight and I really struggle with squaring my hips to the front. Is it bad if your hips aren't fully pointing forward? Amazing question, Geki. Thank you for asking. So Warrior One, guys, after Chaturanga, Warrior One is like one of the hardest poses out there. It's so hard because, as Geki's saying, like it's really hard to square your hips towards the front of the room. I'm totally wearing sweatpants. It's okay. So, you know, your hips like naturally are kind of like this. So what I suggest is, and I cue this in classes, I suggest pressing down through the back heel as much as you can in an effort to sort of square the hips forward best you can. But if your hips are a little bit open, you're not doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that like you're a failure. It's just Warrior One is really hard. The other trick you can do, besides like really pressing into that back heel to kind of take the hip forward, the other thing you can do is widen your stance a little bit. Sometimes if you take a wider stance left to right, see how like this is a really narrow stance. If you take a little bit of a wider stance, that can help you. But don't feel bad if it's not 100% square. You'll get there over time. And even for me to get it square, it's like I'm working my butt off. You know, that's the thing with yoga. It's like you can just do Warrior One, like, right? I'm doing Warrior One. I'm just hanging out. And then you can like do Warrior One, right? Where you're like pressing down through the feet and you're really trying to get the hip forward and you're plugging the shoulders down and back, you know, and you're working. I always think of it's like dancers, you know, dancers do like Dancers, what? Dancers do like 3 plies at the bar and they're like sweating, right? Because they're creating their own resistance and they're working their body so hard and they know how to work their body. And that's what I want for everyone in my yoga community, is to know how to work your body. Because when you know how to work your body, guys, you don't have to go to power yoga and do 60 chaturangas and vinyasa flows to get a good workout, right? You're always gonna get a good workout because you know how to activate your muscles and work. So all of a sudden you don't have to do like repetitive stress chaturangas a million times to get heat in the body. You can heat the body by doing 3 plies, or you can get a heating workout by just doing a sun salute or a half sun salute with a lot of integrity and intention. Does that make sense? Can you guys give me some hearts or say yes, exclamation point, if that little last part made sense for you? Tater Tot says you like that one. Yeah. Rachel says, oh, like a type of space to do yoga at home, Rachel says. Okay, cool. And Geki says, thanks for answering her question. Awesome. Let me grab a couple other questions here. Jessica says, recommendations for staying committed to yoga for beginners. So, you know, thinking of yoga like dating, if you missed the beginning, Jessica, like I did a whole analogy where I was like, date lots of different types of yoga. I think weirdly that can help you sort of stay committed, because instead of feeling like, oh, I always have to do this thing, or I always have to do the same thing, you can like shake it up a little bit and be like, oh, I'm gonna explore this other studio on the other side of town tonight. And, you know, use that to hopefully kind of up your commitment by adding in variety. So like being committed to exploring yoga instead of being committed to like, I have to do this particular type of class or this particular class every single week if it's not jiving with you. I hope that helps. And Jessica, I'd also, or sorry, whoever asked that, I would also really recommend doing something like the Jumpstart challenge, right? Because you're going to have like hopefully a bunch of other people who are moving through the challenge with you at the same time. So at least you'll get to experience, like that's the goal with the Jumpstart challenge. It's like at least people get to experience a whole week where they do yoga every day. And then they really get to see like what that week felt like. How is it different? And another thing about the Jumpstart challenge, guys, is I give you options. So like if you can't do the assigned class for that day, I give you other things you can do instead. So you always come to your mat no matter what. And my audio motivation really makes sure that that happens. Like I don't know of any other yoga program out there that comes with audio motivation. And I really included it in the Jumpstart program because I know for me, when I'm trying to get motivated, it's like my teacher's voice, hearing my teacher's voice, that really helps me. And I was even like illegally recording my teacher who I really liked, like his voice. So with the podcast, I'm really like, I'm giving you educational content, but it's also like I'm motivating you to stay committed to get through. And the person who asked that, I also have an article called How to Always Make Time for Morning Yoga. I think if you just Google that, you'll find it. And I have about like 6 or 7 tips also in there about how to do that. Okay, so 2 people now have asked, what do you think is the best space for a home studio? Okay, and can your studio be movable? So Jessica asked that and Rachel asked that on Periscope. Your studio is movable. That's my answer. So I think it's really beautiful, and it really depends. It depends if you have like a huge, if you live in a mansion with like a room, this is my fantasy. I live in a mansion with a room that's just for yoga. And I just do yoga there every day, and I have like an altar and my whole camera set up maybe too. That's great. But most of us don't live in a mansion where we have a room just for yoga, right? Most of us live in like apartments or with roommates or with spouses. So I really encourage your studio to be movable. One trick that a lot of people in my community already know, but it works really well, is to put your yoga mat right next to your bed. So literally the first thing your feet touch when you get out of bed is your yoga mat. And then you can move your mat to the living room or whatever, but at least that like cues and signals your brain to do yoga. You could also get out of bed and like your yoga mat's right there, and you could just take child's pose for 5 breaths before going to brush your teeth or before going to the bathroom or before whatever. And usually if you just do child's pose, I call child's pose the gateway drug, because usually if you just do child's pose for like 5 or 10 breaths, it gets you wanting to do more yoga just because it feels so good. Okay. And personally, my home studio is wherever I can make it fit. So I very often start with my mat in the bedroom, and then I end up taking my mat to the living room because I get up way earlier than my husband does. So I like to do my whole home practice out in the living room before he even wakes up. But, you know, at night, he might be in the living room or watching a TV show or something, and I want to do my practice, and then I like pick up the mat and take it into the bedroom so I can be alone in the bedroom and have like my quiet time. So if you guys have a room that's just for yoga, I think that's great. But I think if like we think we always have to do yoga in a certain space, or we always have to do yoga in a certain way, it limits us. Like it stops us from doing yoga, which is not the point. The point is to always do yoga. So you want your mat to be portable and to pick it up and take it around the room. And one of my favorite teachers, she said that she meditates and like the FedEx guy will buzz the door and she like has to get up and like let him in. But she goes up and she gets in and then she comes back and sits down and meditates some more. And like, that's how we just all have to be. It's like, we have this thing where it's like, if it's not perfect, if we don't have like the perfect mat in our perfect home studio with the perfect altar, like we can't do yoga at home, or if we can't sit quietly with no, like my husband interrupts me by accident even, like when I'm meditating all the time, and I just like answer him and then go back to meditating, right? Like that's our only option. Like we just have to be practical, you know? So I hope that helps a little bit. And then if you're really craving to have like an altar or a sacred sort of space, you can set that up. Like I have one sort of on my nightstand. I have like a mini altar. So I don't like practice to it, but I have like a photo of my grandmother and like some things I really care about. Or maybe the area in your home where you make tea or heat hot water, you could have like a couple things. So like, yeah, with a home studio, I'm less trying to make it like a formal yoga studio. It's more just like I maybe have an altar somewhere and I'm moving my mat all around so I can always do my practice. Okay, was that helpful? People who asked that question about the home studio, let me know. Other questions that are on here. Do you agree that at a certain point in your practice, you feel like you have to go to a yoga studio? Home practice is not enough anymore. That's a good question. Giselle, I hope I'm saying your name right. Interesting question. I feel like at a certain point in your practice, especially if you're doing inversions and you're trying to go further with inversions and your inversion practice in particular, that having a physical teacher there who can help you is really going to be a game changer, because it's just really hard to learn hardcore inversions. Like I'm talking like handstand, scorpion, forearm stand at home alone. So that's why I think it's awesome that people teach it online. And you guys have probably noticed I don't teach as many inversion classes online, just because I think it's really hard and I feel like I really want to be with someone if they're doing inversions. But other than that caveat, I don't think that it's impossible to progress. If you have a really good teacher that you're doing online with and you're like constantly working on your body, I think you can progress a ton at home. I really think you can. The first yoga class I ever took was an online streaming yoga class. So guys, it's really possible to like go all the way, start there and become a teacher just doing online and self-study. But I do really think for inversions and stuff, if you want to progress past a certain point, you need to do some privates. You need to go to a special inversion workshop and work with a teacher. So next question, how to pose my hands rest when doing down dog or cat cows because my hands keep moving. Okay, so someone's saying, a newbie saying their hands are moving when they're doing down dog or when they're doing cat cows. Radwa, can you say a little bit more about that? Is it because your mat is slippery? So one thing you can do is think about spreading your fingers apart and pressing down through the knuckles of your hands, and that really helps. And Jen Hall, who's like one of the most amazing yogis in my community, who like knows more about yoga than anyone, just said she's never been to a yoga studio, right? So guys, you can really learn a lot from home. YouTube is amazing. So Radwa, maybe clarify your question for me. And people are saying that they struggle with Warrior One. Yep. Awesome. What is the sign that your yoga mat is breaking down? Best way to wash your mat. So Olivia, I have a whole YouTube video on how to wash your mat, but basically it's the best way to wash your mat is in a video. You need to, there's no best way to wash your mat. You need to look at your mat's specific brand and do the exact instructions, because all the mats are made so differently, you guys. Like a jade mat and a Manduka mat have nothing in common. So when you buy whatever yoga mat you buy, don't throw away those instructions. Keep them. I love you too, Jen. Keep them, keep the instructions, and make sure you note like how you're supposed to clean your specific mat, because some mats you can put in the washer dryer, some mats you have to never do that with. So it's really important to do that. So someone just says they have a lot of abuse in their body because they're a firefighter. Well, first of all, that's amazing. But second of all, like start doing some of my beginner classes on YouTube, Brett Larkin Yoga on YouTube, and check out the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart program that I'm talking about on this call. I think that would be a great, gentle way for you to start. And just start with anything that's a beginner class. Okay, Geki says, I think for practicing at home, the mirror is your best friend. Geki, that's so true. And I don't know if you got that on your own or from me, because I say that a lot too, especially when you're a beginner and you're trying to figure out like exactly how to do poses and how to do down dog. Like looking in the mirror while doing a video with me and also looking at me is really helpful, because a lot of times as beginners our proprioception is a little bit off. So like you may think that your spine is straight, or you may think that your elbows are at 90 degrees, or you may think that your knee is bent at 90 degrees, but it's not. And the mirror can really take you a step farther and really helping you find that out. The correct angle in down dog pose. So in down dog, you really want to bend your knees, my beginners, bend your knees in down dog. And I have a video on YouTube called How to Do Down Dog for Beginners. I'd really like you guys to Google that. And if you don't have my beginner yoga guide, brettlarkin.com/newbie, there's a link to all the beginner videos. Guys, so if you're new and you haven't gotten the beginner yoga guide, like you're just jumped onto this Periscope or jumped onto this live stream and you want the like I have a little PDF book that links you to like all my beginner videos, brettlarkin.com/newbie, NEWBIE. And those of you that want a little bit more guidance and to move through the Jumpstart program with me, look at brettlarkin.com/BYJ, stands for Beginner Yoga Jumpstart. It starts on Monday and it's awesome. It's really great. We're going to move through it as a group, and you can optionally get blocks shipped to you when you do it. And it comes with a bonus video just today only about 7 ways that you can modify chaturanga so you don't get injured. So check it out. How do you feel about using music while you're practicing? I mean, not only relax, but rock, techno, whatever. Do you think it helps or distracts fully from the feeling of the moves? Alexandra, what an amazing, insightful question. And guys, if anyone else has a question, make sure to throw it in, because I'm going to wrap up here pretty quickly because I wanted to keep this at 1 hour. Kara, this will be live for a 24-hour replay. So I will email the link to all of you for this video after we finish up, so you can watch it like later tonight or tomorrow or whatever. So use the TV when it's off as your mirror. Good tip, Jen Hall. Yeah, so music. So many comments. Okay, so I think practicing with music, oh gosh, guys, I could talk about this for like an hour, because I've taught at studios where it was required that I play music during my classes. And I've also taught at studios where it was required that I don't play music during my classes. Here are my thoughts. I think when you don't have music, you are able to hear and focus on your own breath more, and that you get in a deeper state of Zen and sort of clarity. And I think it's really, really amazing to practice without music. And I saw your comment about breaking in a yoga mat. I'll get there. I'll do it in a second. However, practicing with music, especially if it's like music that really uplifts you, is really fun. And Alexandra, you were asking about like doing rock or techno. And like I say, whatever floats your boat, go for it. Just notice, Jen Hall, you're like, awesome, step ahead of me. Perfect, as always, you're so smart. That sometimes it can be distracting, right? So you need to notice and figure out for yourself, is the music enhancing your experience, meaning like you're connecting with your breath more, you feel like you're flowing more, or is it distracting you? And an example of distracting you, like, do you guys know those songs? Like, songs are really powerful. Like, songs can trigger memories. So for example, if you play a song in your yoga class as a teacher, or like a song just comes on, it might like remind you of that time you were driving in the car with your friend and you heard that song, or it might remind you of your mom, or it might, you know, like songs, especially like pop music songs, like they have connotations based on like when we heard them in the time in our life. And I feel like that can really take you out of your practice, because then instead of focusing on your yoga and focusing on your practice, all of a sudden you are suddenly thinking about, you're suddenly thinking about the memory that the song triggered. So I think you just need to be aware of it. I think no music is best. Like when I'm practicing at home alone, I don't use music, but if I'm trying to get inspired, I love putting on music because it helps inspire me and like give new ideas for sequencing and stuff like that. So Alexandra, I hope that answers your question, but I think like if you like doing yoga to bluegrass or punk rock or rap, like do it. Just notice if it's distracting you more than it's kind of helping you stay centered. And we have a question about essential oils. I love citrus oils in my diffuser. They wake me up and help me focus. Yeah, I love essential oils too. I think using a diffuser is awesome. I have one right by my bed and they're a great addition, guys. You can just put them on your wrist if you don't have a diffuser. I think essential oils are awesome. And I think I love citrus. I love lavender at night when I'm winding down. So yeah, I'm totally pro essential oils. I'm pro anything that helps you feel relaxed in your home and gets you ready to do yoga. And Alexandra says, thanks. Awesome. Someone was asking about breaking in a mat. Again, we can't answer that question without, you have a diffuser in every room. That's awesome. I can't answer questions like that unless you tell me what brand mat you're using. So guys, when you have questions about mats, you got to tell me what brand. Because like with Manduka, if you have a Manduka mat, you can spray it with salt. Spray it with salt water and then leave it out in the sun, and then it will get like way stickier. But you don't want to do that with the jade mat. You never want to leave jade mats in the sun. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and ideally you're buying a mat where you don't have to break it in. That's why I'm like I'm pro jade and less pro Manduka. Like I prefer jade because jade mats just come, like you don't have to break them in. They're like ready to go right out of the box. Where Manduka, they're sort of like this weird break-in period. And then if you just have like a mat that's like this one, I mean, this, like these kinds of mats that are just, this is Gaiam, I think, like this is never going to really break in. This is just like a cheap mat, which is fine. Like if you're a beginner, just get a cheap mat. But if you're like sweating profusely and you know, you're just kind of going to that next level in your practice, you might want to get a jade mat or check out my Yoga Mat Week on my YouTube channel. I have a whole playlist of videos where I just review every yoga mat in the planet. The Lifeform yoga mat was a favorite of my community, this group, Liforme. It's a mat that has alignment lines in it. And Kayla asked, what kind of music would you recommend for yoga? So when I do, yeah, I'm Brett. It's a boy's name, but I'm a girl. Kayla, when I do practice with music, it's really personal, but I like music that doesn't have too many lyrics. I will listen to music with lyrics, but I don't like too many lyrics because I find the words sort of distracting. So I really like Amos Lee, am I saying his name right? And Kayla, I have, if you go to my website, brettlarkin.com, under free programs, I have like a yoga music playlist section where you can sign up and I just send you a bunch of playlists. Although those playlists are kind of outdated because it was like, I made that a year and a half ago and my music style has like completely changed and evolved. But also like Bonobo, B-O-N-O-B-O. I really like piano music. Yeah, kind of like instrumental music. And I have some ideas of stuff I can do with playlists and sharing more of my playlist and music with you guys coming up in a couple months here. But hopefully that gives you some ideas. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up. And yeah, totally. So funny you said Enya, Shelly. I was like really tired last night and I got in my like cab to go home and Enya was playing and I was like, oh, I'm so happy Enya's playing. I just already feel better. So guys, you say I'm a beginner's dream, Rachel. Oh, awesome. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for being here live, you guys. I know there's a lot going on in this world and being here live means the world to me. It makes it so much more fun and interactive when you show up live. So thank you so much, those of you that are here live. And those of you who are beginners and are here live and want to do the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart course, check it out. brettlarkin.com/BYJ. It's also at the link below this video. It's also in the card description. And you can get the version in which I ship you yoga blocks, or you can get the version in which you also get 2 privates with me, where we go on Skype and I'll help you really refine your poses. And you'll also get the bonus video, today only bonus video, 7 ways that you can modify chaturanga. That usually is not included, and starting tomorrow I'm going to take it off because I only want it to be for the people who showed up live and are like excited and jumping in and excited to just commit and start Monday with the rest of the group as we move through the challenge. So much love to all of you. This has been whirlwind of an hour. Jackie, I'm so glad you feel motivated. And remember, the Beginner Yoga Jumpstart program, guys, comes with audio motivation from me. So every day you do the challenge, you have a piece of audio motivation that you can listen to where you learn more about yoga, and I speak to you directly about my experience and like stuff, just a lot of really good knowledge that's going to really empower you and take you a lot deeper in your practice, okay? So I'm gonna close it down here on Periscope in just a second. So heart it up for our final moments together on Periscope. And those of you who are still on YouTube, if any of you have questions, any people who are wanting to get the Jumpstart and wanting to get it today and get the Vinyasa, the 7 alternatives to chaturanga, which is like the perfect video for beginners. I show you 7 different ways you can do chaturanga, which is just really good because that way you can also go to studio classes and modify the whole time. Let me know any last questions. Otherwise, I am signing off, and I will give it a couple seconds because there's such a delay on YouTube. But bye, you guys. Bye, Olivia. Bye, Jen. Bye, August. Bye, Geki. Bye, Kayla. Thank you so much, all of you who hung out live. Bye, Alexandra. And if you guys are not a member of the private Facebook group, Yoga Hacks Community, yoga, H-A-C-K-S, community.com is where we all hang out. It doesn't sound like there's any more questions coming through. So I'm going to sign off. If you're not a member of our private Facebook community, you can go to yoga hacks community.com, and it's going to redirect you to our Facebook page. And we have literally the most amazing community of yoga folks, and I'll just approve your request to become a member if you jump on. And it's really awesome, you guys. So I hope to see you in the Jumpstart program. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And until the next live stream, you guys, I will see you next time. Bye.